Hello, everybody, and and welcome back to AnimeQuest. Firstly, I am ashamed at how much time I let go by since making my last video, which was like 3 months ago. I let an entire anime season go by before making another video, but you know, when things like university and work start knocking on the door, you just don't have as much time to watch anime, let alone make videos about the anime that you have to make time to watch. But enough about my first world problems. Let's take a look at something from that crazy island third world known as Japan. And it is an anime that is based off of a video game named Akiba's Trip, Undead and Undressed. I actually own the video game. It is hilarious. I have not beat it, but I have played quite a bit of it. And when I heard that there was going to be an animation, I knew I was going to have to revisit the video game. Although, sadly, none of the characters from the game make a return to the animation, and they are quite different in plot, but at least they both retain that key element of vampire-esque creatures being defeated by getting undressed by their opponent. So, yeah, this anime is sure to go above and beyond. Now, the animation is being produced by Studio Gonzo, an animation studio that has made some pretty darn good animes, if you ask me, and some anime that is pretty big in the anime community as well. They've also made shows that I really fucking hate, too, but those ones are few and far between, so more or less I like the studio despite some of their animation hiccups. And this show has some animation hiccups from what I've seen so far, based off purely the first episode, of course. Now, I must tell you, spoiler warning for the first episode of this show, because I'm going to be spoiling the entire first episode, more or less. I can't say I'm going to spoil the entire first episode, but I'm going to be spoiling some very key details, and that's really all you need to know. God, I'm excited to be back behind the microphone. Can't you tell? Can't you tell? Anyways, the anime starts off basically showing the end of the episode. I thought it was going to be further in the anime that it was showing us, because our main character was essentially already a badass. His name is Tomatsu, but he's actually introduced as Mysterious Boy, and his female companion slash friend slash other main character, as I can see, is introduced as Mysterious Girl? As in, it doesn't know, it uses a question mark. I thought that was weird, but whatever, that's how it introduces our main characters. So he unclothes some of the bugged ones, as they're called in this show. I can't remember what they were called in the games, but they're called the bugged ones in here, and they explode into hilarious purple cloud fashion, which, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that's exactly how they exploded in the games. And you can just tell right off the bat, it throws you right into the action. It is very silly. This show is not to be taken seriously. God, well, I hope nobody would take any anime too seriously, honestly, but still, this one definitely far from being taken seriously. It's hilarious, it's fun, and it's showing you that right off the bat. Basically, then after that, we flash back / into the show where we start out at the beginning. Wow, that was great. That was a great explanation out of me. And we see our character Tomatsu, and he's not the blue-striped haired vixen guy badass that we've seen. So it depicts him as such a badass at the beginning of the episode, so you really just think that it's taking place a lot further than it actually is, but it's just the end of the episode before he gets turned into a bugged one by the mysterious red-haired girl, whose name later you find out is actually Matome Mayonaka, I believe? Matome Mayonaka. And she turns him to a vampire at the end with a very sensual and pretty sexual make-out to turn into a vampire. I thought she was going to, teeth him. I was like, okay, so the bugged ones are exactly like vampires. They do say like vampires and zombies in the show, but no, they're vampire. No, it turned out to be a pretty sensual makeout. Things start glowing, and then he's a vampire. And the reason why she has to turn him into a vampire is because he gets killed by these bugged ones, these pretty evil bugged ones. And he gets killed pretty brutally by, a broom handle or something. I can't remember what it was, but it turned into a stake. and he gets fucking staked in the heart pretty bad. That shit is bloody afterwards, I am gonna tell you. So it's fun. The anime's fun. The action is fun. There's a cool scene where the comedy's fun too. There's a scene where Matome thinks that this blonde girl, Blondie, I can't remember her name, is a bugged one. So she goes to undress her and then hits with a baseball bat and she knocks over figures. And the blonde girl is a really big otaku. She gets pissed. She takes this as like a personal offense and just starts whooping her ass. I swear to God, it is. Wow, it was just really funny. I was just like, holy shit, I can already tell I'm going to like this character, apart from the weird tick where she says something like, kind of like a cat girl, but not a cat girl. She says, moi, I think, like MOI. It's strange, but, you know, we got our premise, we've got our setup, we've got Tomatsu, he's dead, he's now a vampire, and they have to undress some vampire-esque bugged ones amidst the city of Akihabara, the center of nerd culture in all of Japan, and you can tell this show is going to be awesome. The game, it is a little different. This one, I don't really know what the deal with the bugged ones is. There's this weird regime going on where there's an Akihabara, like, special forces, but it's led by this little green-haired kid. It's really strange. They talk about the Akihabara Accords and stuff, and I'm just like, the Akihabara Accords? What the fuck is that? Like the fucking Reiko Accords from Mortal Kombat? That's so weird. Accords? Why is there so many politics in this? What's going on, you know, off camera in the politics of this world, I wonder? Maybe it will be answered, who knows? Maybe it's not really that important and we don't need to know. I'm gonna go with the latter. We don't really need to know, who cares? But the show is just balls to the wall. The action's actually pretty nice, despite some pretty poor animation at times from Gonzo, but, you know, I think they're, you know, just dip the quality in certain parts to up fluidity and have the action be a little more high octane, and I'm okay with that, because the action has been fun, it's been crazy, and the movement's been fast, so it almost really doesn't matter, and it's just fun. So we've got the rundown of the characters, the rundown of the story, and do I recommend it? Yes, I totally do. It is a bit different from the game. I do miss the old characters a little bit, despite that I only played the game for like 4 or 5 hours and I never beat it. In the game, too, it's a little bit weird because I think that there was an organization, like an evil sort of umbrella organization, you know, running things from behind the scenes, you know, causing this weird vampire outbreak in Akihabara. So in that way, it's kind of just like I could obviously see what the villainous motivations are there. For this one, they just kind of show up. There's some urban legends and stuff, and you were kind of just like, why are the bugged ones doing this? Because they turn the humans into bugged ones, and then the humans just join the bad side right away. Like the red-haired girl was on the bad side too, but she's considered a traitor. But it's like, you'd think there'd be more traitors than just her, because if the humans really, for the most part, retain most of their memories and knowledge of the world after they become a bugged one, why would they just start, you know, attacking other people right away? It hasn't shown us any reason why they have to attack other people yet. But I guess we need an excuse for two opposing forces to rip the clothes off of each other. Originally, and I'm pretty sure in the game that it has to be out in like the sunlight and stuff, like you undress them out in the sunlight so that it burns them up. But in this, it's just, they're very sensitive to the air, which has scantily clad as some of them are, and you just think any pockets of clothing being open could hurt them if it's just that they're sensitive to the air, so any open skin would be like on fire. But whatever, you're not supposed to bring logic into this. Why are you bringing logic into this? Why are you bringing logic into this? Don't do that. Don't bring logic into Akiba's Trip, the animation, an anime based off a video game about vampires fighting each other by removing their clothes. Okay, don't bring logic into that. just don't do that. Although it is kind of funny, you think at a point these bugged ones / vampires would just create outfits that were harder to remove, and maybe later in the show they will do that. I don't know, it just seems like a really solid solution to the problem of having your clothes ripped off. I don't know. I guess I've never really worried about having my clothes ripped off, I guess. So, just strange. Alright, I'm going to wrap this episode 1 review up. I haven't really talked much about the animation or the music in the show because, quite honestly, I don't really care all that much, and the music just wasn't memorable enough probably for me to care. Gonzo, it's decent animation, but you're really just kind of here for the ridiculous story and how much fun you're going to have watching it. And trust me, you're going to have fun watching this if you can just accept the ridiculousness of the entire situation. So that was my episode 1 review of Akiba's Trip, the animation based off the video game Akiba's Trip, Undead and Undressed. That was a sequel to another Akiba's Trip game that I'm not real familiar with, but I believe has a different premise. And there's also going to be another Akiba's game too. I think it's called Akiba's Beat, and it's going to hopefully carry a lot of the same beats from the last game, and I'm excited to play that one too. The first game in the series was never localized. I'm going to do a joint recommendation here and recommend the game Undead and Undressed 2. The gameplay's, I mean, it's mostly one of those things where you're just kind of enjoying the ridiculousness of it all. Apparently the game's also very faithful to the layout of Akihabara, the city in real life too. So it's very faithful to the actual layout of the city, which is cool. The combat's kind of whatever. You kind of just lock onto your opponents, and then you can target like the pants, the headwear / eyewear, or the the tops and t-shirts and stuff. You kind of just weaken the clothes by swinging some sort of blunt weapon at it, and you get to choose which one you want to attack, and then you attempt to pull off a piece of clothing, which then results in a bunch of button mashing until you do. The game's funny and fun to play. The gameplay does kind of wear down a little bit, which is why I kind of gave up on it, but I do plan on coming back to it. The anime is not going to have that problem, though. It's just going to be solid octane action all the way through, where you're just watching. So I can't wait to see more. I might actually this might be the first time where I review episodes beyond the first episode. I mean, yeah, I've done first impressions where I have a first impressions sort of review of anywhere between the 2nd to 4th episodes, but I've never just like looked at each episode individually after the first, so I might do that this time. I'm also going to go ahead and take this chance to apologize that I haven't been making videos. I let like 3 months go by without making a single video. I gained like 20 subscribers. I feel really ashamed because every time I look at my subscriber count, it would have gone up a couple ticks, but it still never motivated me to, make a video because I was always just too tired. I wasn't even watching that much anime, but hopefully I am out of that funk, and I'll be getting back to making more videos. I'm trying to weave these videos into my work schedule, but I don't want to compromise the quality. But we'll see. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to come out with more episode 1 reviews within the next week or two. And I hope you guys have a good one, and I'll see you on the next quest for anime.